Not a soul can clap. Not a soul can clap. Now, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the curious case of Dakota Schiffer and why I think she was eliminated too early and unjustly on RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 4. So let's get into it. There seems to be a recurring theme on Drag Race, I'm mainly referring to the American franchise here, of queens being used on the season who are really talented and then basically just eliminated because the storyline didn't really fit their needs anymore and they just had wasted potential. So if you think of queens like Denali, Jessica Wilde, Monique Hart, Max on Season 7, maybe more recently Theresa May and River Medway, all of them really talented in their own right, but just had weird endings on the season. Max especially.
To say it looks like Max is coming apart.
Yeah, I just really needed to loosen the corset.
Okay.
Like, what the fuck was that editing to make him look crazy? I don't know. Dakota, for me, fits into this category of queens because she was really talented on the show. She had really good style and she was really charismatic and she did really well in the challenges, but her track record doesn't quite live up to that. She got 2 wins on the season, which actually is quite an achievement considering the only other queens on the season were Cheddar Gorgeous and Danny Beard. Danny winning. Any of them could have taken the crown really, but I think Dakota should have been up there in the top. She was eliminated on episode 7. Not fair. So, let's go through the season episode by episode and try and work out how we can amend Dakota's track record to do her some bloody justice because she deserves better. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into episode 1 of season Let's get into episode 1 of season 4 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK and dive into the curious case of Dakota Schiffer. Period.
I'm Dakota Schiffer and I'm 22 years old.
Episode 1 is the Maxi challenge where you have to serve up 2 runway looks reflecting who you are, and the other one this season is all about the BBC's 100th anniversary, so it's a tribute to a look that links to the BBC. Most people did like characters from shows that were on the BBC. For Dakota's look, she did a reference to Anne Boleyn from Horrible Histories, and she looks fucking stunning. She looks really good. She has this Tudor number on. It's black, it's gorgeous, it's on the more simple side, but I don't think that's a bad thing. And then her look about signature drag, stunning. Raja says it really good in Fashion Photo Review when she talks about Dakota's look for the challenge.
The realness, gorgeousness, I live it. I love her style, I love her stance.
Like, Raja has it down, Raja gets it. For some reason, Dakota was put in the bottom this episode. And I'm not being rude, but I think there's definitely one person who should be in the bottom, and it's not Dakota, and it could also be someone else. So like, for me, I would have put Pixie Polite in the bottom, babes. I just don't think the outfits are that nice, like, and to be honest, copper top as well, like, I'm not seeing it for you either, babe. I love the second looks message, kind of. Don't like the presentation of it. That's my opinion, babe. Raja also said about Pixie's outfit.
As your first time being on Drag Race, bringing the most brunch and easy outfit wouldn't have been my choice.
And I couldn't agree more. For me, I would have placed Dakota Schiffer safe for this episode, and I would have put Pixie in the bottom, period. I think Dakota was put in a bit of a shit situation. However, I do think that her being put in the bottom was good for her because Dakota did a really good lip sync. Like Bimini and queens that get put in that bottom on the first episode, but like really prove that they deserve to stay. It is good for their like image. Just May, unfortunately, babes, she just had to go home, and she did. She went. So let's move on to episode 2, the girl group challenge.
Dakota served a fierce performance, and I think that just goes to show that she's got more to show.
Let's start off this section of the video by saying that FKA Twigs King 8 as guest judge. She just looked amazing, smiling, beautiful, constantly being positive and giving good critiques. Tell that to Shania Twain. The actual name for the challenge was Glastonbury Festival, which is kind of funny. I don't know how I feel about that name, but slay. So this challenge was kind of chaotic, to be honest with you. 2 very different dynamic groups. You had Queens of the Bone Age, which is Dakota's group, which is kind of like all the misfits. And then Triple Threat was like the fashion girlies. There's some really funny bits from this episode, especially Triple Threat's having a breakdown after their performance. Sminty crying immediately after. Baby looking so over it. And Starlet just being like, yeah, I think I did really well. And she looks a bit like a stone statue. It was really funny. And then Queens of the Bone Age, they were really good. They gave energy. Their dancing was a little bit more simple, but they all were in unison. When Coppertop does their performance, Twigs' really shady look after she finishes is really funny. The whole team got the win. And to be honest, I'm not mad about it. Dakota had a really strong verse. Her lyrics were, had a bad day, gonna turn it around. Doll of the Valley to punk princess, my confidence is found. Trans activist with the mostest, politically engaged on the best dressed list. Dakota's coming for you, baby. Also, side note, is that line a foreshadowing of what's going to happen later with Dakota and Baby? Thoughts in the comments, please. Honestly, that's a slay. Good lyrics. No, like, I'm gonna snatch the crown, just good to the point lyrics. And for the runway for this episode, Neon Nights, Dakota also ate as well. Beautiful outfit. Dakota's runways are consistently good. I agree, she deserved the win for this episode. For episode 1, I would have changed Dakota to safe. For episode 2, we're pretty consistent. Right, let's move on to episode 3.
Different patterns, but still make it cohesive and high fashion.
Okay, I'll be the judge of that.
Okay, so episode 3 is actually such a good challenge for Dakota. It's the NAFTA Awards. It's the design challenge, ladies and gentlemen. But this time they're doing it in pairs. And Dakota and Baby are in the same group together, and they got given the colour black to work with. And let's be real here, they fucking delivered one of the best design challenges in Drag Race history. Period. Their looks are just so sleek, so fashion. This outfit is absolutely stunning. I love this outfit so much. And I think in the actual, if you watch her in Untucked, when you get really close up to her, she looks so beautiful. Her makeup is incredible. I'm just obsessed with this queen so much. Like, how could you guys not be? Do you know what I mean? Well, you're watching this video, so you must be as well.
She's got a point.
So yeah, episode 3, she deserves her win. We're looking at a good track record right now. Safe, win-win. Pretty good. But after this time, it starts to go a bit weird for her, and like, it's kind of annoying. So let's get into episode 4.
It's a new day in the workroom, and I have 2 repeater badges, my new nipple covers, so...
Episode 4 is Cassie Man. It's the improv challenge featuring Alan Carr. I would fucking die if I could like act alongside Alan Carr in a challenge. That's so fun. I grew up watching Chatty Man, which is like a British TV show that he hosts. Very funny guy. He's actually the most famous person from Northampton, which is where I'm from. Well, allegedly the most famous, apart from me.
I think the fuck not, you trick ass.
Joking. So this challenge is really funny. It's like an improv. It's quite wild, to be honest. And this is when I really start to take umbrage with the track record, because Dakota deserved to be at least high for this challenge. In the actual episode, Danny was placed in the top and won. Honestly fair. She did a really good performance, and she was really funny and the most put together, and her look was just fucking beautiful. Now, I made my own score sheet, girlies. I watched them all back and I rated them all out of 10 on funniness. It's Drag Race, so you've got to be funny. Characterization of their role. So that means like, so guys, I did an improvisation module on my drama degree that I just graduated from. I got a first class degree, thank you very much. But I did do an improv module. It was very fun. So I kind of know what I'm talking about here.
It's just coming.
So ranking out of 10 for funniness, ranking out of 10 for characterization of their role. So committing to the character that they've developed in whatever way they have, presenting it in a way that comes across in this short time that you've got to perform it. Like, it's quite a hard thing to do. And then overall ability to improvise in the scene. So let's crack into the first group, Danny, Cheddar and Pixie. I scored Danny 10 out of 10 for everything. She did really good and she was really funny.
Oh, do you think it's funny coming on here with comedy teeth, do you?
Well, I did, yeah, actually.
Now, I scored Cheddar a 2 out of 10 for funniness. She did make me laugh. I scored her a 7 out of 10 for characterization of the role, because she was in the role and she stayed in the role and she performed it okay. She was fine. For her overall ability to improvise, I just gave her a 5 out of 10 middle of the road, because it was just kind of boring. She just went to immediately doing slapstick. Yeah, it just wasn't doing it for me, to be honest with you, babes. And then Pixie, I gave a 7 out of 10 for funniness. She pulls out a dildo and it's quite funny, and there's funny bits that Pixie does. When she does the yodelay hee-hoo bit as well, that was funny. For commitment to the role, I gave her a 5 out of 10, just because I think the actual role that she did was basically a copy from Little Britain. There's this character that Matt Lucas did.
Oh, that's terrible, terrible, darling. It's outrageous. Has my husband still not sent the check?
No, I'm afraid not. We can't seem to track him down.
Haven't tried him on the Monte Carlo number, darling.
And I feel like she did a really similar voice and performance of it.
Like you may have sent me out there on purpose, my darling.
So I'm just like, get your own character, babe. For overall ability to improvise, I should give her a 6 out of 10 because it was fine. She was fine. But compared to Danny, I'd say not amazing, but not bad. So team 2, we've got Baby, Dakota, and LaPhil. Now this is where I would have changed things up. Baby, okay, was terrifying. Unhinged. For funniness, I gave her 1 out of 10, but I kind of wanted to give more because it was so bad it was good. But like, she didn't really make me laugh. For commitment to the role, I gave her 7 out of 10 because despite it being a really interesting character character to choose, she was committed to the role. She stayed in that really posh character and it stayed throughout the sketch. But for overall ability to improvise, they gave her a 3 out of 10 because that fucking song she did was terrifying.
Big old titties in your face. But you cannot have the titties, for I am an independent woman.
And it was uncomfortable, and I didn't like it. Not the vibe. Let's go to LaFille first. For funniness, I gave her a 0 out of 10 because I didn't think she was funny. She did make me laugh once. But for commitment to the character, I gave her an 8 out of 10 because despite not being funny, she was fucking committed to being that role. And I believe she was the scientist. For overall ability to improvise, I gave her 0 because she seemed to like just trail off and not have a clue even what she was talking about. So it just wasn't giving. And now this is where I would have placed Dakota high in this challenge because despite being in a team with 2 people who couldn't really do that good or didn't do that good, Dakota was funny. So she started off a bit shaky, like she did have a little laugh, but like it's improv and it's meant to be funny. For funniness, I gave her 9 out of 10 because she made me laugh. When she was doing that voice thing as she first came in, I thought that was a really funny thing to do for a character and a good way to set a scene. And then she also just was able to pull it back at different times, like when she went, "You're finished."
I've got my voice! You're finished! What am I gonna do?
Just made me laugh out loud. And then for commitment to the role, I gave an 8 out of 10. Maybe I'm being biased, but like, she's my favourite. And then for overall ability to improvise, they gave her a 9 out of 10, baby, because to be able to act around the people around her, she did a really good job. Like, she just threw herself into it. And even Pixie said at the end, I'm really proud of her. Why did she just play safe? I think she deserved to be high. And then also, let's just go look at the other group, because it was a fucking shit show. John Buzz, I gave a 6 out of 10 for funniness. I gave a 5 out of 10 for commitment to the role, and a 6 out of 10 for overall ability to improvise. She was just fine. Sminty was just fucking funny. She had an iconic entrance.
Oh.
Catty Fisher, please sit down. Would you like to remove the veil, please?
And also in the episode, an iconic exit. For funniness, I gave her a 9 out of 10 because although it was an absolute shit show, like, it was quite fun to watch. For commitment to the character, I gave her 0 out of 10 because I don't think she even knew who she was. And for ability to improvise, I gave her 0 out of 10 because she couldn't improvise. Improvisation is yes and. So someone says something to you, you say yes and, or like you go into it. She like fucking shut down. And I loved her at the end, she just was sat on stage. That was quite funny. It was a hot mess for her. I realised that I didn't give Black Pepper a rating in my original filming, so I gave her 7s all round. I thought she had one really funny line.
Alan, she looked like she's far from our kitchen.
Yeah, overall she did really well. Slay. So yeah, in my rankings, I actually placed Danny first, obviously. Dakota had a score of 87%. Black Pepper had a score of 70%. It would have been Danny, Dakota and Pepper high for me. But in the bottom 2, I would have done LaFille and Sminty. Sorry, girlies, but that's just how it would be. But anyway, Dakota would have got a high. So we can amend her track record again. She's now on safe win-win high, as she should. And for her runway, the hair runway, everyone fucking ate for this runway and everyone did really well. And I'm kind of basing it more off the challenge because her runway was gorgeous. It was a sub. There were some other runways that were really good as well. It's kind of hard to judge it off the runways. Let's just appreciate how beautiful she fucking looks. Period. Right, let's move on to episode 5.
I hate musicals, I hate it, I just don't like it.
Do you know what? I'm beginning to think that Dakota doesn't like musicals.
I put a little lamp on, so the lighting's changed. So episode 5 is the Visacool, and Dakota was placed in the bottom 2. Now, to be honest with you, everyone did really well in this challenge. It's kind of hard to judge who would be in the bottom here, really, so I'm kind of happy with just leaving Dakota in the bottom because she had quite a gaggy time this episode. To be honest, this whole episode was fucking chaos and a bit unhinged. So Dakota was put in the bottom. She did a good job, though. I think her being in the bottom gives her another opportunity to perform, and she had that gaggy moment with Baby, where Baby eliminated herself, so I kind of agree with how it all went down. It kind of was seeming like if Baby hadn't have self-eliminated themselves, Dakota might have gone home this episode, but she didn't because Baby did it. So like, I don't want to dwell on Dakota nearly going home. This was her one fall, but as she did say, she hates musicals, so like, what do we expect? And let's be real, her runway was stunning and she looked gorgeous. It's fucking fine. We can move on to episode 6.
Saw Michelle's Vogue routine with insincere to the point of nausea. One kiss on her, she burst into flame.
This is where the fucking riggery starts, guys. Like, you can just see the producers not feeling her vibe, even though she did really fucking well. So in episode 6 was the Snatch Game, and she performed as Pete Burns. It was a serve. If you don't know who Pete Burns is, Pete Burns was a British, how do you describe Pete Burns? Personality who was in a band that made the song You Spin Me Right Round, Baby, Right Round, and blew up from there. Kind of went on this whole transformation physically where they sort of became this otherworldly person and had loads of injections and looked incredible for a time, and then kind of spiraled off a little bit and then they die quite young.
Period.
She was placed safe for the challenge. I don't think that's fair. I think Dakota was top 2 worthy.
Period.
It's not the vibe. Stop!
Let's just take a minute to acknowledge Black Pepper's Snatch Game because it was iconically bad. Oh my god, like calling RuPaul daddy. Girl, what are you doing? It was funny though. Dakota just been in the fucking top, like what were they doing? She was placed high. No, she wasn't. She was placed safe with Danny. But I don't think Danny was very good. I didn't like Danny's performance. It was weird.
Jesus Christ.
And Oti Mabusa gave her a weird look as well. It was a hot mess. She just kept shouting. But with Dakota, she was in the role the whole time. The whole time. Her look was boots down. Dakota looked absolutely stunning. A pink Valentino fantasy. I think, you know, yes, Cheddar, you can argue Cheddar did better. To me, Cheddar kind of cringed me out a little bit. It's not to hate on Cheddar, because I love Cheddar.
Okay, I am obsessed with mustard. I can't believe I just said that out loud. Mustard?
Jombas was placed high. Rue loves to play into stereotypes, and she just basically wanted her to do an Irish character, so she made her be St. Paddy, which doesn't make any sense because it's St. Patrick, and it's not even like Snatch Game is a celebrity impersonation, and you're not even doing anyone. You're doing a made up. It's made up. So for me, I would have placed Dakota Schiffer for this challenge high. I would have done it, guys. But to be honest, Cheddar's runway is quite beautiful and it has a really nice message behind it, so I can kind of see why Cheddar won the challenge. Okay, let's move on to the next episode, which is Dakota's elimination. Like, what? I don't know.
Now, sashay away. The doll has to leave the valley.
I am disgusted.
Hey girls, if you can hear this, I hope you're doing well. As you can see, I've just managed to delete all of this section of the video.
Let's go.
So, this was episode 7, talking about the makeover challenge. So you know what? I might leave that to part 2 if you want a part 2. So we're just going to leave it at this lovely clip, and I guess it works for this as well. Love that. Deleted like a quarter of the video. Slay! You know what? You live and you learn.
I am disgusted.
It's a few days later and I've got a beard and my eyesight has significantly got worse since editing this video. So I'm just going to pause the video here, and if you want a part 2, we can look at how Dakota might have done in the last 3 episodes in a separate video. If you got to this far, thanks for watching, and yeah, love you, subscribe, bye.